Oh, cough right in the mic, all out laugh one. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Hybrid Live Show, or the Hybrid Live Show. Haven't really landed on a title yet, but I have a couple of amazing co-hosts with me this week and a special guest I'm going to introduce in about 30 seconds. First, I'm going to introduce the captain, the chief trainer dude of the Hybrid Engine. All the way, he has a brand new hockey team. It's Anthony Peressini.
Well, I don't have a new hockey team. I'm still going to be rooting for the Vegas Golden Knights, but yeah. How's it going, guys?
And my other co-host, new to the program, is age group Hyrox World Champ, age group Deca World Champ, and the person 95% responsible for getting me off my ass in the last year, Cheryl Snow.
Hybrid Hyrox podium. I was not world champ. Don't let Mamushka take that.
Sorry, Mamushka.
I know, because she's wonderful, and I don't want to steal her thunder. But absolutely, Deca, let's go.
All right. All day I had to say, Matt, don't say Cheryl. Don't say Cheryl. Or sorry, don't say. See how bad this is? I just had an energy drink to make sure I'm like on point. And I was telling myself, don't say Cheryl Crow, even though I've had you on the show multiple times. But here's a special guest, just flew in from Colorado. He's here to make a massive announcement. If we get at least 4 viewers, I'll bring him on. Okay, we're at 4 viewers. It's Veejay Jones.
Hi, Veejay.
Hello, Miss Crow. How are you?
Look at this.
I'm
Cheryl Snow, not to be confused with Cheryl Crow, and Veejay Jones. Well,
there's
Veejay
a lot of energy coming out of that studio over there, man.
Hey,
Whatever.
Man, I just had a fucking monster. I just had a monster.
Yeah. Do you wear wife beaters too?
No.
Drive a lifted truck. Oh, okay. You're classy. You're classy.
I'm wearing a real shirt today. So my wife bought me this because, once in a while we do go out to eat and I don't want to wear a t-shirt, or I'd like to not wear a t-shirt. And I forgot I had this, and it was sitting in the closet. I put it on. It is so comfortable. I look great in it. So I might wear this to the next Hyrox. Who knows? But listen, Veejay, welcome. Glenn Race is here. What's up, Glenn? We'll talk about Glenn shortly when we get to the thing. But we're going to get to how the hosts did this weekend with all their physical fitness. But I want to start with Veejay, who has what is your massive announcement, Veejay, that we learned today?
Well, it's not like a massive announcement.
It's massive. We can't say it unless we get at least 5 viewers. Okay, we've got 5 viewers. Go ahead.
I'm retiring from OCR.
And
I'm committing 100%. I've committed. Let me grab my hat. And I've committed to Hyrox.
Let's go!
Let's go! Who would have saw this coming? This one dude that's been struggling so hard in his sport, and he's like, well, if I still want to be an athlete, maybe I'll have to do something else. What's the obvious choice here? I
thought you were going to say you were committing full time to creating commercials and content, and I was all for that.
I would love to, honestly. But I haven't saved up enough to be able to just be like, I'm going to quit my day job and just film sweet infomercials. Honestly, Billy Mays is my hero. And if I could step into that role and be like the next Phil Swift or something, I would love to do that. You know that guy that did the terry cloth that would like absorb a lot of water?
Yeah.
That guy?
Yep.
Love that guy.
Are you talking about the ShamWow guy?
ShamWow guy, yeah. But I wouldn't do the crimes.
I was going to say, not a great ending for ShamWow guy. So Veejay Jones, just 3 years ago, we were like, who's better at a 3K or a 5K than this guy? Sorry, there wasn't 3K yet. Who's better at a 5K than this guy, Veejay Jones? Remember that?
Yeah. And then people were like, that's not real racing. That's not a real good athlete. He only runs for 20 minutes.
That was just me that said that.
What an idiot.
So I want to know what percentage of you is moving over to Hyrox based on, okay, here's the categories. You got to give me percentages. All right.
Okay.
And then, by the way, Cheryl Crow and Anthony can throw questions anytime for Veejay, our special guest, who won't be on for the whole show probably, or maybe he will be. Anyhow, what percentage was the following? OCR is kind of shrinking and hybrid is growing. There's less money overall in OCR, and the payments are really late in OCR. Those are kind of three different categories.
So the straw that broke the camel's back, so technically that's a lot of straw, right? So if we had a lot of straw and that last little piece of straw that fell and broke the VJ camel, that would be the payment coming out late thing. So not like a huge percentage, because I only got 2 years. And so that's all I've ever known is like, if I win a race one day I'll get paid for it. But recently I've been interacting a lot with Spartan Race and like talking to the employees and trying to communicate and get my situation fixed there. And a lot of the employees of Spartan Race are magnificent. They're fantastic. I'm using a lot of Trump words here, but they're great, right? And I really like those guys. But there's one individual that's kind of at the tippy top, like the pinnacle of it, and he's kind of rubbed me the wrong way to where I'm finally like, hey, you know what? Like, there is no obstacle racing in the US without Spartan Race. There's nowhere for you to go to try to like, okay, I'm going to still be an OCR athlete, but not really participate in Spartan, because they own everything. So it is what it is. And I figured, I still want to be an athlete and I like chasing competition. And the main part of the switch to hybrid, so 90%, 95% of it is I like chasing competition. And in OCR for so long, I chased Atkins, I chased Killian, I chased those guys that were above me. And I reached that level and was able to compete with them. Huge accomplishment for me. Very proud of that. Took a lot of years of work, but I don't necessarily have that now. Not to say that there's not great athletes in the space. It's just like when I am dialed and I have nailed my training block and I feel fit, I'm not threatened by anybody. Like, I feel like I can step on the start line and something's going to have to go wrong for me not to execute what I know I can do. And that's a great place to be. And I like that. But it's not really worthwhile for me to continue doing this anymore, really. But I look over at hybrid, and there are some dangerous and unbelievably fit people over there. And it's a new challenge that I've, done one Hyrox, done a few DEKA FITs, and it's like a new thing for me to try to accomplish and something that's inspiring to me and interesting. So it's just a new thing for me to try to get after. The fact that the sport's growing and there's, monetary opportunity is awesome. But I also just look over and like Hunter McIntyre, who's dodged me his whole career, is at the top of this sport. What a nerd, I'm going to take my shot at him before he calls it quits for good. And probably like, a year and a half, 2 years from now, when I start figuring this shit out, he's going to announce his retirement, and then he'll have dodged me, yet again, which is a little silly. But yeah, I want to shoot my shot at this. I feel like I can be good at it. And I like chasing something. I like mastering a new skill set. So this is a complete change from what I've become, really, is just really good at running and can do monkey bars here and there, to where I actually going to have to be strong and develop some capacity on machines. And like, compromise running is actually a thing now. It's not just this term that gets thrown around for no reason. So yeah, it's really exciting. And Lauren Weeks is like such a huge inspiration to me, honestly. Like, she's my hero. So yeah, going to do some of that.
Go ahead. Questions from our panel.
Yeah, but so I'm hearing a year and a half out. Like, it sounds like you've got sort of a calendar and a plan.
So originally this year, like, I was looking at finishing out as an OCR athlete and then making the transition. But 2 weeks ago, I was like, you know what? I need to start spending a little more time on trails, really dial in, get ready for these obstacle races coming up. Went running on some technical terrain, thinking about Greece the whole time. Like, I'm going to win Trifecta World Championships. I'm running. It's nice. Stepped in a little bit of snow, found a root under that snow, and rolled my ankle. Immediately got like real fat. And like, in the first 30 seconds, I thought my career was over. I thought I was just retiring. That's it. But then it's getting better, and like, there's light at the end of the tunnel. But I took it as a sign from the universe. Like, why are you still doing this? Why are you still putting so much effort? I haven't had a single injury my entire career, like, other than something that took me out for like a day or two. So I took it as like the universe is saying, hey man, back it down. change directions. Okay. So yeah, that's kind of like that made the decision for me. Up until that moment, that very moment, I was like, I'm going to finish out this year for OCR. And now I'm like, oh, well, I might as well just start like building foundations for the fall Hyrox season and see if I can get good enough in the next 9 months to qualify for a major. And it's going to require, like, the athletes are so good now to where it's going to require my entire focus. Like, I'm not the kind of athlete that can split my time between getting like being okay at OCR and then also being good at Hyrox. Like, I don't know how Ryland does it, but he's not a normal human and I am a normal human. So it's going to take 100% focus, dedicate myself to it, and then I'll be okay. And that's my plan. So yeah, my whole summer, I'm going to be in my garage rowing and skiing.
Are you scrapping that Spartan Washington or whatever it was? Is that what the North American champs were?
Seattle. Yeah, Seattle.
Oh yeah, scrapped, gone, crumpled, 3-point into the trash on the other side of my room.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say something here. Maybe I'll get in trouble for it. I don't know. I'm a big fan of Rich, big fan of the Ermer guys. Cheryl's on Team Ermer. She's wearing a shirt right there, RMR. But you know what? They got a lot of athletes. I think we need you on the hybrid engine team. You're nearby. What's a quick flight? How far are you? How many hours are you from wherever in Colorado he lives, Anthony?
It's just over the other side of the Rockies. What do? We just hop on a plane, and as long as it doesn't get stuck on the tarmac, it should only be about an hour and 10-minute flight.
Okay, you see
8-hour drive.
I mean, world champions are in that gym over there, over at the THE. Just saying.
Do you have a guest bedroom?
Actually, we do.
Let's go. Hybrid engine camp.
Hold on. I can't commit to like people staying at our house. I have a wife and a daughter.
Well,
I got to talk to people.
All right. Well, listen, maybe we'll get, I forgot to mention our host today is Resolute Coffee.
Oh.
God bless you. Resolute Coffee. I'm a big fan. Anthony's a big fan. Do you want a cool mug like we have? Order that Crush It Club, and you can get the sweet mug, some good coffee. Rich from Ermer, also a big fan of Resolute Coffee. HFM 20% off. That's HFM 20. So anyhow, maybe we can make some magic happen. I don't know, because I know that money's tight, right? But I don't want to make it. They got a little baby. They got their family time. But who else lives near you? Who else qualified for the games that lives near you? Which amazing CrossFit athlete can he stay with?
Me?
No, near your town.
In my town? Oh, well, Salt Lake has a big fitness scene all over.
Right. What's his name? From a long time ago that was really good? What's that guy's name?
Tommy Hackenbrook.
Tommy Hackenbrook. There you go. Stay with him.
He lives in Vegas now.
Oh, fuck that guy.
RMR.
I would say, like, yeah, talk to me offline. We'll figure it out. But no.
Is there like a clause in our contract that would be like a guarantee 3-year period to a world championship? Like, if we can write that in, then I'll consider it.
Anthony is too humble. He would never say that, but I will say that. I'll put that. I'll say your money back if you don't get to the podium. 3 years, that window, really? I'm going to say 2. You can get to the podium in 2. Come on, man.
Fair enough.
Seriously, let's ask Anthony this question. What do you know? How much do you know about Veejay? What do you think it would take? What you know about his physical makeup?
I know that he's good at short courses and obstacle course racing, and I have a questionnaire that if you answer it, maybe I can learn more about you.
I just meant now, just like unofficially now, just shooting the breeze.
I don't know. What did you ran a Hyrox, didn't you? You ran one in LA.
Mm-hmm.
This year's LA course?
No, last year's.
Last year.
No, wait. Anaheim.
No, it was last year. Last
Anaheim
year,
23.
LA. It was
Anaheim.
bad. I just got back from Abu Dhabi.
Okay.
Terrible. I think I ran like a 65 or 66 or something.
How much weight do you want to put on to become a Hyrox specimen?
That was your first one, right?
Yeah.
He can run. Like, he can run. It just feels like, yeah.
What's the longest runs you do?
2 hours.
If you were racing for 2 hours, how far would you go?
Interesting.
I guess we're getting the official questions. I thought these were
Two,
going to be
2 hour,
top-head
2
questions.
hours. When I'm fit, I'm probably still running like 550, 540 pace.
So you're quick. You're just as fast as all those top guys, and you would be going through it. So it's just looking like you got probably a minute 15 to take off your wall balls. You got 50 seconds in your sandbag lunges. You got.
I
30
cracked
seconds in
on
your
the
rower.
second run at Hyrox. I
Did you
cracked on
really?
the second run, 100%. My race was over. I got off the ski, started running. It was pretty much that was it.
That was your fastest run.
Man, there it is. That's why. Look at that. It's terrible.
It was a 322.
What is that good? I don't even
You
know.
know, if you 322 per kilometer, if you held that the entire time, you'd be cruising in a Hyrox.
Didn't you tell me? Didn't you tell
you
me
would drop some of these? You would drop some of these times from the Hyrox Berlin that happened.
Well, once upon a time, you know, pushing the sled was this game changer. With the new sleds, it's not like he doesn't have to bulk up a bunch, right?
Yeah, I mean,
I need
with
to.
the new sleds, I'd love to see like what you can do on that. I don't have like direct numbers. It's just basically like, can you do this? Okay, let's work at getting you faster at it. Like if you have the minimum strength, then it's like, okay, now let's get you better at doing it.
What's the minimum squat you need to be hitting to be
500? No,
500?
No.
I do that.
500 micrograms. There you go.
I did that 20 rep cycle at the first couple of months of this year, which was awful. That was kind of fun.
What? Yeah, that's always terrible. What'd you get to for that?
I got to 240. I thought
Pretty good.
we only did it for like 4 weeks, maybe 5 weeks. So I feel like.
What'd you start at?
I started at, I think like 190 or something.
And you did it twice a week, and every time you added 5 pounds to doing the 20 rep.
Yeah,
and
I think so.
240.
Yeah, I feel like we had a few more weeks in us.
Did you just stop or did you fail?
We just stopped.
Oh, well, yeah, you didn't finish it then.
All right, well, there you go. Talk, Ermer.
Oh,
Ermer.
well,
yeah.
No, yeah, we used to do those. You go to failure, like until you can't do 20 reps in a sitting. Like we had, yeah, I got to 295 or something, and just it's miserable. It's one of the most miserable things you can do is a 20 rep max back squat.
Yeah, it doesn't feel great. That's true. And the funny thing is like when you keep adding weight, it doesn't like, I don't know, the lighter weight doesn't feel any better. It hurts the whole time anyway. It's just suddenly you're just doing more weight, and it's terrible.
Yeah, so it's just total power output. Yeah.
All right. Well, listen. We're gonna hold.
We're off the rails here.
No, it's okay. I'm just excited that you're joining the hybrid team, VJ. I know you're as excited as I was approximately a year ago. I forgot to mention this. The last show was almost to the date of the 1-year anniversary of me launching the website. So happy 1 year of Hybrid Fitness Media to me and to all of us. And I'd like you to stick around if you could, VJ, because we are going to talk about Deca Anaheim, which you commentated on. So we'd love to have you stick around for that if you can. But first, we're going to do a quick host update. And 2 people on this thing were actually at Deca Anaheim. I was not, but here's what happened for me last week. First of all, again, big shout out to Cheryl, who was like, I interviewed Cheryl on my show, and it made me stop making excuses for myself, or at least I'm not nearly as hard on myself as I am. I still am some, but my commitment to you last week was, hey, I want to do that DEKA workout I do 3 times. Last week I did it once. This week, 3 times. Did the 3rd one yesterday. Really didn't want to. It rained all day. It was shitty out. And my wife was like, you're going to feel so much better if you do. And then I did it. Way to go, me. So I'm very happy. What I'm not happy about is I wanted to do a scale update as well, which I know it's not all about the scale. But if I'm going down, I certainly feel good. So I had lost about 1.5 pounds between 2 weeks ago and last week, and then I put it right back on. And again, I know we're looking for the long term, but it's pretty disappointing when I'm really jazzing and my food's dialed in, I can lose a pound a week pretty easily. So I'm trying not to beat myself up too much, but that's my fitness update for the week.
You need
Are
to
you
learn how to
gaining
lose
muscle?
weight, man.
What's that?
Are you gaining muscle?
I mean, I don't know how much muscle I can gain. I also like, how much muscle can one gain at my age?
Well, I mean, I'm saying that maybe that's the scale, maybe misleading you.
Well, I
Right?
mean, again, we're going to know more over time, right? I don't think I put on a pound of muscle in a week, though, or in 2 weeks.
You're
I don't
not
know,
taking the
you
right
can-
stuff.
Yeah, you guys can
Okay.
do amazing things. So
Okay, so here's my quick update. A few weeks ago, I talked about the potential of looking at some testosterone replacement therapy, aka TRT.
Let's go.
I went to my doctor. I went to my sports doctor to get my hip looked at. And I said, "Hey, doc, let's talk about this." And I said, "I'm just thinking about it. Like, what if I just did like a little experiment?" He goes, "Well, here's the thing. If you take it for 6 months, your body will stop making it, and then you're fucked." So that's a non-starter for me. That's like I thought I could. I thought that was like an option. So
DJ,
that's
DJ,
because
I have a
he's like,
question.
"Look, let me just kind of finish this thought." He's
No.
like, yeah, of course your levels are going to be down. You're a 52-year-old man. But just so you know, if we give you this, your body will then stop producing it and it won't again. So you'll be taking it forever. So I am officially off the TRT train. What is your question, VJ?
I was going to ask if you're making any at all right now.
Well, less than I did when I was your age, VJ, for sure. We know that. That's been established. And I listened to it was actually talking to Kirk. I don't know if you listened to the Terp podcast, but I was talking to Kirk, and Kirk was like, "Yeah, my buddies are like, hey, there's more pep in my step. I'm a better lover." I'm like, "This sounds great to me." But yeah, and obviously I would do better at the Deca and the Hyrox. But yeah, if it's all or nothing, I'm out. So that's an easy answer for me.
Have
But-
you looked into those nice Walmart commercials of
That's-
Nugenics?
What are those?
Nugenics, it's some black bottle of pills, and you take it, and then you're 70 years old, and you're freaking yoked.
Oh,
all right?
that guy.
And then
Yeah.
that baseball player selling them, and he's like, "I'm more manly than ever." And
that's why when I go to Walmart, I see those guys all the time. They look just like that.
absolutely.
Matt, didn't Kirk say on that like he taken it before, or he knew people that take it before? They aren't on it forever. They get off of it. So it doesn't, your body goes into shutdown, but it comes back. You have that, like, it's not going to forever stop producing.
This guy was a doctor. What do you want me to say? That's what he
I
said.
think at
Dr.
our age-
Schmacher.
At our age, Anthony, hormones are not like a guarantee. And so I do think as we get to a certain age, we have to pay attention to that. And I think, look, yeah, Kirk was on it when he was really young because he was really low. And of course, guys that age are going to be fine. But those of us who are a little bit older have to be a little more careful about that.
Yeah.
And better for you to just do all the stuff that keeps the hormones going, which is exercise, right? It's all this, it's all the stuff that you're doing anyway. That's going to help you more than anything.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's my fitness update for the week. Let's check in with the other two folks. I want to start with Anthony because Anthony is an amazing athlete.
Mm-hmm.
And he thought, like, what's really good? If you're going to hop on that bike, start at like a 12 and then peter out at about a 7. That's how I do things. So what happened, Anthony? Give us the background on the doubles race. Give us the plan and then what actually happened.
So I got really excited, and I'm still really happy. Like I got to race with my wife for the first time in a hybrid event. Like, we've done CrossFit events before, but I finally got to do a race with her, and we go out. But I knew, like, in the warm up area, I started to get really nervous. Started to have a lot of like nervous energy, anxious, just anxiety. Like, looking around, and I see all these people, and everybody had been talking about these teams that were going, and it was, Bubbles and Lauren, who are the reigning doubles teams world champions, and Katie Duke and Grayson Kilgore, who who like were both elite athletes and monsters at DECA World Champs. And then you had Vivian and Isaac Sanderson, both elite, very top end elite athletes. And then I'm with my wife, who's, you know, world champion and had just set the record. And I'm like, oh man, I do not belong here. Like, so like on the start line, and Bubbles was like, oh yeah, so what are you taking out at? What are you going to start with? And I was like, I don't know, man. I was like, I got one speed and it's, you know, highest gear all the time. And that quickly deteriorates. We're sitting on the start line, and I'd asked Lauren beforehand in the warm up. I was like, do you want to like run and I'll just stay behind you? And like, we'll go that way. She's like, no, you should go and I'll stay with you. And I was like, okay. And so then I'm thinking, all right, I just got to go. She'll be right there and everybody else will be there too. And so we say 3, 2, 1, go. And I just like all that nervousness just bunched up and went. And I come out at like a 4:45 mile pace for the first 500. And in, you know, back of my head, I thought everybody was right there with me and they were just right behind me. And I was like, just got to keep going. And I go back and watch the video, and I was gapping Lauren, and like the rest of it, I was like, oh,
You looked amazing.
yeah. Well, I got to that first station and waited there. And then we come out and I start running again. And I only had to run one lap the second time, so I was fine. And we were doing good. Like on the rower, I was doing all the rowing. So the next like station, I was pulling like a 129 for a lot of it. And then like it's slow. I slowed down with about 150 meters left, went to like, got up to like a 135 pace. And then like started to calm down and like realize my breathing, but I'd overworked definitely in the beginning. Got to the bike, which I was really excited about. Well, actually before the bike, we were splitting it up exactly. I had it all written out on my arm. We were splitting it up, and I was supposed to do all the farmer carry and run the first run. And I'm on the farmer carry, and Lauren goes, "You want me to take it all, like all 500?" And I was like, "Yeah, go for it," because I wasn't feeling very good, and I was like, "We got to stay in this race." So she does, and I'm like, "All right, I'm going to be on the bike." I took a little block energy at that time too, and block or bloke, whatever they are. And I started chewing it, and all the other guys are on the bike, and the other guys that were like that were leading right then, they were still on the bike, and Bubbles was right next to me, and he starts, and like right as he finishes, Lauren comes in. So I'm like, okay, we're only like 15 seconds behind. I'm going to nail this. And so I just do what I do on the bike. Like I've gone 12 to 15 seconds on the bike for 25 calories consistently. I get on, I just close my eyes and go. And I opened them and I had 6 calories left. And that's just really defeating when you think like, oh, I should have kept them closed longer. Right. You saw 6 calories and I was like, oh no. And I slowed down. I had pressed start like before I was touched. So I was waiting a second. And I think I ended up like 24 seconds on the assault bike calories, 24, 25. That was like 10 seconds off what I meant to do, but that was all right. And then we get into the next run, and I'm supposed to run the second lap, and I do.
So you said you did it in 24. You plan on doing it in 14?
Yeah.
So Bubbles does it in 13. You were going to do it in 14.
I was going to do it a second faster than him. He did his in 15.
I was
done
that. Have you done that at home? I mean, I was just making sure.
Yeah, I've done it in 12 seconds at home.
Okay.
Yeah. And I ran a practice DECA like myself here at home, and I was able to hit 15 seconds while like pretending like running through the breakdown I had. So I'd already done it on an assault runner and with a bike, and it's fine. I go back and look, like we have a really good time. Our overall time, those were just 3 really good teams we were against. Like they are really good teams. We finished like 27-30 something. We're the 4th time right now. Like We were a minute and a half off the world record. Like, it's not like we were slow. It's just I was dying.
Well, comparatively, you had put yourself right next to Bubbles, right?
Oh yeah,
And so
yeah.
he goes, everybody is right in front of Bubbles because they want to see the show. He finishes and then you start. And the fact that you're just a few seconds off him seems like an eternity,
Right.
because we just watched him blow
30
up.
seconds is really quick for most people, but people listening to this
No,
do
like
not do that in
anybody
30
else, it
seconds.
looks perfectly great, but you're right. In comparison, you were just with a bunch of monsters. And
Yeah.
I have found a new love language, just watching you two, like selling your soul on an assault guide for your partner. You cannot work harder than what you did. It was absolutely astounding to watch. It really was.
I would sell my soul for anything Lauren wanted. So
Oh,
Right.
look at that.
That's the best.
but we
Wait
Yeah,
a minute, BJ, your lady was there. What's your
she
problem?
was. We
buddy?
saw her, and then we started looking around for Veejay and didn't see him.
Do you want to see how fat my ankle looks right now? I could hobble around out there. It wasn't going to be pretty. I wanted to be there. I wanted to go and try to I wasn't going to be able to run very fast, but I wanted to at least put a time that would qualify me for Worlds whenever or wherever that is.
So one thing I did notice, though, is that I went and looked at the breakdown of like the races, and Lauren and I together ran a 16:50 5K in our race.
Jeez.
So I was like, wow, that's pretty quick. I mean, his tag team 5K of 16:50 is nuts. And we were the third fastest 5K. Bubbles and Griffith ran like a 17 flat or something. So their Deca Strong was just nuts fast. Like it was like 9 minutes of Deca of station movements, and then
and Lauren Griffith also the hybrid engine, so it's win-win for you.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was good. I was glad to see everybody there. I was glad to do what we did. I wish I hadn't blown up our race at the beginning, but I was still really happy. Like we put it on a really good time, 27:37. That's what it was. So I'll get better. Only got more fit to get from here. And so if we end up going to Worlds and Deca in November, December, then I'll be ready for it then.
Yeah.
Is that the hybrid engine slogan? More fit to get?
Yeah. Just
Nice.
keep going. I mean, everybody at that level, their fitness it's minuscule, the differences between all their fitness. So really it's about mental prep and where they're at and how they utilize what they have. So it's really good that I got to experience that, I think, racing with them.
All right, Cheryl, how many races did you do this weekend?
Just one.
Just the one.
Super lazy. Yep.
So tell us how it went.
It went fine. I think I think all of us, especially with the DEKA system, it's kind of easy to just show up and do a decent time to get you on the leaderboard, and then you kind of don't have to worry about it. And I'm getting better and better at just kind of gauging that. And so it's always just kind of a good judge of my fitness to see where I'm at coming into Hyrox Worlds. I was a little faster this time than I was last year at this time. And so that's, it's the nice thing about DEKA as opposed to Hyrox is you can judge your times, right? Like you can say, oh, last year I was this and this year I was this, and that means this about, where my fitness is at.
So you're telling me that a race with the same run distance and the same stations can actually be standardized?
Go figure, right? And I have thoughts about that, but I will say that is the nice thing about DEKA. And so that's what I do is I go and I run this race, and just as long as it goes well, positions me on the leaderboard, I can kind of knock that off the list and then not have to worry about it until Worlds. And so it went great. They are now bottoming out the bike seats. That was my big hiccup is I don't know how to.
Didn't they do that at Worlds though?
Well, for the elites, and they started doing it by the end. They were doing it by Deca Strong, right? So by Deca Strong, I had to adjust my seat, but this time I adjust my seat, and then as I was riding, the seat kept chunking down, like I hadn't twisted it enough to get it to stay where it needed to be, and so lost maybe 15 seconds futzing with the seat.
what did we think, including VJ, who was on the commentator booth and saw a lot of the action? Did we see correct form on lunges, lockouts on ram burpees?
I will say my experience is nobody's doing full extension on lunges. They're not jumping anymore, but they're not doing full extension. It's almost impossible to do full extension on lunges.
And did they? Is it a requirement to do full extension? Is that in the rule book? I thought
Now it is.
They've got this line, and you stand in front of the line, and then you lunge, and your knee hits behind the line, and then you stand back up, and you're supposed to have full extension. Nobody was doing that.
It's not going to happen. The only person to ever do full extension was Jack Bauer, and he lost 15 seconds on that station.
It's really slow. It's just kind of not. It's not a normal movement. So there was that, and then one of my friends, it was his first DEKA FIT, he went over and was watching burpees, and he said nobody was really doing great on those until Yancey would show up, and then everybody would like clean up their act, right? So I will say the burpees I saw looked a lot better. They don't look so sloppy. Everybody's being better.
Yeah, there's not that like half duck above the head anymore. At least they're like, even if they're not extending, at least they're like throwing it up.
It looks much better.
So it visually looks better. I mean, there were some no reps I would have said, but I don't know if I saw anybody get a no rep, but as far as like visually what they looked like like an actual movement instead of like just herky jerky stuff.
Everything looked cleaner. I think it's been a good decision.
I have a macro question before we move on to Hyrox, but it's tangentially related. So I look at the numbers, and Anaheim last year is about the same as Anaheim this year, like 800 people all in. Same thing with Tennessee. It's only the second race of the year. Hyrox pretty much like doubles, right? Like Berlin was 2,000 last year, 4,000 this year. In America, if it's 800 to 1,500, it jumps to 2,000. Because DEKA has the gyms and those do seem to be growing, does it matter, or do you think we need to get more people to DEKA FIT events? Because I'll tell you really quickly, that's definitely one thing you notice watching it is like the lack of the crowd, except for when Bubbles was on the bike. Like that's the equivalent of the wall balls every time at Hyrox. So anyway, do we think it matters that DEKA never is still really low in people?
So just like an anecdote here, we went to a gym the day before, a local gym that was like 2 miles away for Lauren to do a quarterfinals workout. And we asked them and they're like, "Oh, what are you in town for?" They had no idea what DEKA FIT was. We asked the people in the classes, they were like, "Oh, I didn't know that was happening this weekend." So I wonder, like, that seems like a big missed opportunity. Why didn't they advertise to the local gyms around there? Because one of the girls that was at that gym knew what a Hyrox was and was going to do Hyrox Anaheim in May. Why wouldn't they have like disseminated information out to the CrossFit boxes and the gyms in that area, because those would be very likely like low-hanging fruit to pick up to come to an event like this. Like, oh, it's happening in my area. I live right here. It seems like a missed opportunity. That why, if they want more spectators, if they want more people to show up and compete and participate, that would be a place that I would start. Yeah,
it feels really word of mouth. It feels like anybody who knows about DEKA, it's because they heard it from a friend of theirs. I had 4 people who had never done a DEKA FIT from Vegas come and do it. And they had all just, heard about it through various things. And so Spartan is not, surprisingly stepping up in that regard.
I was surprised because I looked and I was like, oh, that's got to be more than last year. And it wasn't. It was like they're both like 780 or something.
And the sad thing is that those are really fun events. Like I did my race. The reason why I didn't race more is because I did my race. I did the athlete judge program. I rabbited for teams. I stayed after, watched my friends. Like it's just everybody's having a good time. It felt like DEKA Worlds had in Dallas. It was really, really fun. And it's too bad that they don't, it's too bad more people don't know about it.
I think they could repair optics a little bit, like even without having more participants. Mm-hmm. With the Hyrox setup, is they put the elites towards the end of the day when there's tons of people already there. Mm-hmm. So if you did the same thing for DECA and you put the elites at the end of the day, there's already going to be a ton of people there. So like just on camera, it would look a lot better rather than an empty convention hall. I think it'd be kind of an easy fix just for optics.
Well, there were a lot of people watching teams because it was at 12:30, and they could have put the elites in the middle of the day, you know.
It was supposed to be at 12:30.
Well, that's true. We were waiting around a while.
Yeah, I think I remember when Hyrox started, we were so used to OCR, we were like, why are they doing it this way? And this is dumb, and it should be in the morning. But I think DECA is coming from the Spartan background of like, oh, this is how we do it. And I think, yeah, they may think about flipping it. I think I was going to say they'd be more concerned about the course being cleared, but with even less racers, it seems like it wouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, I think it would be just fine. I think they really could sit down and make a few basic changes. And even, I mean, we've talked about the aesthetics before. They could throw up some things that would just make it feel a little bit more produced that would help a ton.
All right. Anything else about Deca Anaheim before we move on to Hyrox?
Yeah, I got two things before we move on. First, I just want to say congratulations to my wife. That was an awesome race she ran. So she, went under 32 minutes. Super proud of her, always am. And I also want to say, like, did you guys hear about Bubbles' weekend? That was amazing.
He did it ultra.
He lives in Connecticut. He flew in the morning from Connecticut to Los Angeles, LAX, drove to Anaheim, got to the convention center, did the doubles race or the team co-ed with Lauren, left about 45 minutes later, went back to LAX, flew back red eye to Connecticut, got up in the morning and did the DEKA 50K Ultra the next day.
It was not in Connecticut. It was in it was in
wherever it was. Yeah.
Dust to Glory, wherever Dust to Glory is.
Yeah, he flew back across the country.
Illinois.
Yeah. It was
So it took third
time zone still, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
yes,
like he just that was amazing.
I posted that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He's incredible.
Yeah, it was awesome to meet him. I got to meet him in person for the first time. That was really cool. And yeah, I was obviously I like to. My wife won't talk herself up, but I'll talk her up.
She looked incredible. Vivian was talking about how she just could not catch her. Yeah. It was really great to see.
And Lauren Griffith did really well too, so I'll mention her. Vivian did awesome. But yeah, I very proud of them. So
all right. Moving on to the Hyrox Airport, aka Berlin, Germany. I was so dumbfounded by the times that like I wasn't even sure what I was looking at. I was like, are these the open? Was there a mistake? What is happening? So I want Anthony, our resident data expert, to explain to the good folks at home who may still be holding on to this site. And by the way, I was the one who said on at least 2 podcasts recently, let's stop bitching about the races because they're all about even now, and it doesn't matter US or Europe. And if you show up at your qualifier and if you show up at your race and get in the Elite 15 and then show up at the Elite 15 and do good in the Masters, like we're done talking about it. And then this thing happens that is, as far as I could tell, not even a lap. It was like a straightaway. So Anthony, can you explain to people the math and the science behind why this race should perhaps be thrown out and not be used for next year's Elite 15?
So I have a few things to say about that. It's going to make both sides of this mad.
Fantastic. Let's do it. Let's make everybody angry.
So
let's not do it until we at least have double-digit viewers. Okay, we're in double-digit viewers. Go ahead.
First off, the race itself, you could not get a more idealistic, a more perfect setup. Okay, there were long straightaways. There was a rounded curve. Like you could get full speed running on it. So it was a great like setup. And there was no rock zone. It was included in the lap. There were people with GPS.
No rock zone.
They wheeled it in GPS so that it was supposed to still be the 8,700 meters with like 1,100 per lap, right? So that you still had the equivalent times. And I'd say a lot of the time is probably just because of the perfect setup. And if you didn't see it, literally it was set up like a DEKA where the next station was perfect. Oh, you come off the run, boom, there. You immediately started your burpee. You literally turned off the course and there was your burpee course. You finished over the burpee line and you're back running on the run course. Like the farmer carry was like a little bit off too. So there could not have been a more perfect setup for a Hyrox, which was going to lead to faster times. It just would, because of the way things were arranged, and that's very reasonable. Now, on the other part of that, we have new equipment. We don't know how the equipment reacts in different venues. So, is it push, pull? Like on those different areas, are they going faster or slower? You don't know yet. So the question is going to become, well, should all the times at least before the center equipment came on, so before DC or Fort Lauderdale, should all those times be excluded from the times going forward? Probably, because it kind of changes the era you're racing in, right? You don't compare the 14 game football season to the 17 game season now. It's like per game basis. So there's that difference as well. But just as a reference, somebody was in that race that has ran 22 races. Thanks to high results, I pulled up all their races. That person's Tiago Lusa, right? Just for reference, Tiago Lusa has never ran a pro race under 1 hour except in December of 2022 in Frankfurt, which everybody at the time claimed was a fast course. He followed it up with European Championships in Maastricht, running a 61, and then he's run some doubles and some team relays that have gone under an hour, but no other pro or elite course has he ran under 1 hour. And then he ran the Hyrox Men's Open time in February in Vienna in a 57:57. He ran Madrid in March, so a month ago, a little over a month and a half ago. He ran that one, Men's Open, in 56:36. And then the Berlin Pro time, he just ran in 57:37. So as fast as his open times. And he was 5th place. So he ran his fastest time and took 5th place. And there were 10 men under an hour in this race. And, you know, some of the men who haven't gotten an hour or haven't been near an hour in a while, just for Tom Hogan, who said he retired last year, he hasn't ran under an hour in a while. And now this race, he's a 59:59.
So here's the course. Literally, the 1, 2, 3, they've done that before, except for wall ball. So I don't think that's the biggest deal in the world.
But it's right off the run course. There's no rock zone. Usually it's 1, 2, 3. Like this is an in order run course. It's the perfect setup.
Everything possibly going your way. So the top 10, the 10th place person would still, I think all the way down to the 8th person would still beat, I forgot which one it is. All the top 10 are in the Elite 15 is basically if what we're saying. That's
no, they just broke an hour. The
top 10 were the first 8 were all ahead of Rich, who's 15th right now, right?
So the top 15 times right now, the 15th time is 57:06. So in Berlin, 57:06 would have been 3rd place. So the top 3 men all were Elite 15 qualifiers in a non-Elite 15 race. That's very, very rare. Like unless they were all but these are people who have never been in the Elite 15.
Correct. No one who's had a race that except
And I'm not gonna discourage anybody's racing times because they earned their time. They went to the right race, but was anybody peaking for this race? Was this the race that they circled on their calendar as this is where I'm going to PR? Probably not. But it happens. And then, but on that same note, like it also doesn't matter for the Elite 15. It doesn't matter because usually, when look at what happens when you get like playoffs and stuff. They pick the 16 teams, and wild card weekend doesn't always matter because the teams that are going to advance are playing later. And when you talk about even the March Madness that just happened, oh, we got the best 64 teams, but really, like, does it matter until you reach the Elite Eight? What level are they actually looking for here? CrossFit Games, they invite 40 people to the games, and then they'll dwindle it down to 10. A lot of sports only are looking for really who are those top 10, who are those top 5. And I'd say in a sport where that brings in 15 positions, they only care who brings in the top 5. Make sure the top 5 are right. And so
Right. Well,
those top 5 people, though, like, think about it, those top 5 people, they're going to get in no matter what the course is. They're going to get their times.
Right,
they're going to get in there and they're going to race.
Right, but not the people, but not all those people. The equipment, we're not going to do it because they changed the equipment. Because what if Center's a 3-year sponsor or 2-year sponsor and they get new equipment the next year? Like, and it's harder. Like, that part we're not sweating in, and that was what I was saying to these people about why we're not going to argue about it anymore. It's like, courses are different, and now there's new equipment, but it's all going to about average out because even with a fast course, the top of the pyramid, the top of the tip of the spear folks are all within a certain time that we don't have these big fugazis getting in there. But then we did this, so depending on where they reset it, you were going to have people who've never made the Elite 15 sitting in the Elite 15 and make it very hard for some other folks to get in. And we're back to 2 years ago.
That I don't like that argument, though, because there's still the last chance qualifier. If you think you should have been the Elite 15, you didn't get your opportunity in the majors, go prove it in the LCQ.
But that should be for a couple of folks, not 6 folks. Don't you think?
It's for however many spots didn't get filled. Because you got to argue that the World Championships, those guys that, if you think their times, if you think Yannick didn't deserve a 56.27 and he goes to all the majors and he never repeats it, or he never places in the top 5, he's not going to get his spot to Worlds anyways. If he makes it into the top 5 or the top 3, that proves he raced his way in and he deserves to go anyway. So somebody else needs to go to the LCQ and earn their spot there.
What do you say, Cheryl?
I want to know if Veejay's ready for this world. Just stepping into this.
Dude.
I think that'd be so stressful. If I was in this position, it would be so stressful.
Nah, we're chilling. It's all noise. It's all little things. And if you're one of the best, none of it really applies to you.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to be the best in the sport, it doesn't matter because everyone's dealing with the same stuff. This is honestly for the people that are really kind of out of it for winning a world championship, but deserve to be in that race, which is always up for debate, right? There, like when you say there's 15 people that are supposed to be at the world championships, that 11th through 15th spot, there's probably 25 to 30 people that could easily fill those slots. So you're always going to see there's somebody that you thought that should have been there that is not going to be there. And there's argument for almost every person that could potentially run a good time or could potentially place well at Worlds. So I think there's always going to be a discussion. It's always going to be there. And that's good. That's good. There's more things to talk about, get people upset, keep them interested, bring them back next year. But if you think that you can be on the podium at World Championships, this doesn't matter.
That's a good point.
And I will say, you earned, whoever made the podium, you earned it for that race. I'm not taking that away from you, right? But I do want to see how you do later on. And I got to say, what's the gentleman's name who won?
Yannick, God bless you, sir. Rather than saying, hey, man, I did my best, I raced my ass off, but yes, it's obvious based on all these other factors that this was pretty fast. He doubled down and defended it and got weird about it. And I just think that was a weird take, dude. So, and if you want to come on the show, we'll talk about it. I'll happily have you on. But he doubled down on it. It's like, come on, dude, what are you doing? Why wouldn't he?
I run a slow course, everyone's going to know about it. If I run a fast course, I will die on that hill that it was fair.
Yeah, my fitness is dialed in. That's like that's
not what you would say. That's not what Lauren would say. So it's not everybody.
But that's why, like, do the records matter? Like, everybody's talking about all these records at different courses, but what are they? not every marathon course is the same, but marathon can still be in the Olympics because it's, you qualify through and you race on that course, and those people are who you're racing.
So listen, I want to actually read what he said. I don't want to throw the guy under the bus. Okay. I know Yannick and his friends are going to hate me, but hey, that's the position I am. I got the big microphone. He wrote, yes, it's true. The venue yesterday was a fast track. The run course was long and straight, and you had the fresh air the whole time. We didn't even talk about that. But the distance and station work is equal to the other races. So why should you throw out these events? Does this mean our performance is worth less? And so I see what now that I'm a little bit calmer than when I wrote this post, I see that. But we do understand that the run is 50% of the race, correct? That's why it's different.
That's why we said it's the perfect setup. It's not the same setup everywhere. You've had harsh corners at different venues. You've had long straight. Like everybody talked about Chicago right after it was run, that it was a runner's course and it was really fast. Why wouldn't we throw out those times then if we're going to throw out these? If it was a good setup, why would you use it? Why wouldn't you use it? So it just and I get like the indoor standardization, but it's not every course is going to be the same when the layouts are different. You don't have a standard template for these, and that's fine. That's kind of what makes them fun. It's time doesn't get you to worlds anymore. It's qualify in. That's what matters.
So go ahead, Cheryl.
I just think, bringing it down, speaking for all the age groupers, I just think our culture needs to change around Hyrox. I PR'd in DC, but I wasn't telling anybody I PR'd in DC because there are too many variations, right? I don't know what it means to have gotten a better time in DC than in another race that I did. And when the age groupers are out there chirping about how great they did in a different race, I just don't think, I think it's going to start falling on deaf ears, right? I think we just need to quit that.
Well, what's really funny is this whole conversation came up from the thing that came up last week where Rich said, oh, this kind of shuts up the Podium people because he's put down such a good open record. I'm like, you're never going to shut up the Podium people. You're never going to shut up the chirpers. Like, that's what they do.
Yeah. And look, I'm just getting to where I'm certainly not going to chirp about it, and I'm going to roll my eyes if somebody else does, because with Hyrox, it doesn't matter.
So Cheryl, it's important for you to show up, have a good race,
make
the podium, or get the win. Like, that's what you're there to do.
Yes.
Not brag about PRs, you're saying.
Jack Bauer percent of winner, right? I want to see how I did with everybody else that day. That's going to help me get a better idea of my
Veejay, is Jack near you? I know you guys go on runs together. Is he near you? Can you just say that percentage of winner, which everyone else hates, Cheryl just quoted as like a good thing? Go get Jack. Go get him. Is he near you?
Yeah, hold on.
That's what I was hoping you'd say.
Jack, come on screen.
Side note, this interesting thing that I was going to bring up that I had in my notes before this event even happened was they called it this signature venue, and Hyrox has this thing where they want to do that. So New York is indoor outdoor, right? Mm-hmm. And it's not a qualifier and it's not of anything. It's just, hey, come do this cool event in New York, right? And guess what? That's not real ideal for parking, for example, right? Not real easy to get to, but they think it's cool to do that because it's a mass participation event. So turns out this one was really wacky with the times, but wow, now we're all really curious what New York is going to be like, which I will be at June 1st, NYC. So yeah, it's this whole signature series. They want to have these epic, kind of like Spartan stadiums, right?
So could you qualify for a major technically? Like if you had one of these special venues at the next season before the majors, could you have shown up to Hyrox Airport and qualified into a major with that time? We
don't know what the qualification for next year is yet. So this is all speculation. Nice. Like we don't know that it's going to be time-based, and they probably aren't going to announce it until after Worlds. What we do know that they've said is that there'll be auto qualifiers for those that win the majors. We don't know if there's additional auto qualifiers for anybody at Worlds. We don't know if it's going to be time-based or if they're going to take suggestions like they did when they listened to the athletes a little bit about this last year, where like, you know what, maybe when the majors are spread out across regions, maybe next year, instead of having 2 majors in Europe and 2 in America, maybe we have 1 in America, 1 in Europe, 1 in the Middle East, and 1 in APAC. And then you actually have maybe 3 races from those areas before the majors happen, where you have to qualify at those races to get to the majors. That could be a possibility. We don't know what's going to happen yet. So it's all
last
speculation.
year. If it's the same as this year, what they did, VJ, was they just backed it up to the top of the year. So the season goes from spring to spring, like May to May or June to June. Okay. So what they did was they didn't back it up to the season, though. They backed it up to the year.
They said they did say they did that, though, because it was a short year and a major was coming up. There wasn't enough events. So last year, the season started in like September, or no, it started 2 weeks after Worlds. It was in June. It was in New York, 2 weeks after Manchester Worlds. But they said they're going to reset the times to only times in 2023. So if your time was on a course in 2022, that was wiped out. So only 2023 and beyond. This year, if they do the same thing, these times would count towards a major if they do the same thing. But that's speculation. We don't know yet.
What are the chances we get, like, the 4 auto qualifiers for majors, or say they have more this year, say 6? Do we get 24 people bracket in wrestling to qualify for world championships?
So I don't think this would be like Hypercon Games or something where they're going to pull wrestling out. Unfortunately, I might actually be able to make the Elite 15 then. That'd be awesome.
LCQ Bob test.
Yeah, there we go.
But
no, they most likely, like, I don't know. We don't know what they're going to do yet. If they do it exactly the same way they did last year, that means any course you've ran in 2024 is going to count towards at least the first 2 majors of next year. But we don't even know where the majors are at. We don't know how many they're going to be. We don't know how many auto qualifiers are going to be. Last year, they capped it at 5 auto qualifiers. This year, right now, there's already 4 men auto qualifiers and 2 women. So if they cap it at 5 again, that means there's only 1 more male auto qualifier left and 3 more women auto qualifiers left that they could take from Worlds. But we don't know the answers to these yet. So it's just speculation based on the current system.
We don't even know what the fall U.S. season looks like.
No, and they're not going to announce that probably till after New York.
Yeah, my understanding is as soon as New York is mentioned, we're going to get fall and then hopefully new cities in the spring. We've been hearing rumors and buzz about new cities. Hopefully, are you making fun of me, VJ?
Did you see that Reddit post? I saw the Reddit post too.
No, I'm not that much
season.
on the Reddits. What did they say in the Reddit?
Somebody was like, does anyone know what's happening? And they're like, rumor has it from Hyrox employees that of the top 12 population centers in the country, there will be more major city locations. And then they threw a couple speculations, which I don't really remember.
So I think Atlanta qualifies as the top. Actually, I looked this up. Rich and I were speculating. Rich from Irmer. If you look at top 12 cities in terms of density, right? Atlanta's definitely in there when you include the metropolitan area, right? The metropolitan area of Atlanta is, 12 million, right? Just the city itself. But you know what else is in there? Like Minneapolis. Is there going to be a race in Minneapolis? Probably not.
I got New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, Dallas, Houston, Atlanta, Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, Miami, Phoenix, Boston, and Riverside, California.
All right. So 5 of those 6 they've already done, right? Will they do Philly if they already do New York and DC? Probably not. They probably use one of those to go out west. Wouldn't you think? Like a Phoenix? What do you think?
San Francisco or Seattle? San Francisco is 13th and Seattle is 15th. Detroit is 14th.
So here's the other thing to remember that people always forget that those of us that know the big picture have to think about, right? You do one in Seattle, right? You better have a truck already in San Francisco, right? You're not going to because it's so far to get to, even though it's one of the bigger cities. That's why it's easier to go up and down the East Coast, right? That's why Savage Race never went out west, because you got to get out there. You got to have a truck or 2 sets of trucks. It's a whole thing. Where is Denver? Where's Denver?
Denver is actually 19th.
Oh, it's so high.
And it's at altitude. You would just people would come out here and die.
They just did Mexico City. Did you see that one? Top time there was like a 67. Isaiah Vidal did it. He was in 4th.
There's just no oxygen.
Yeah, what's Mexico City at? Like close to 10.
7,000. Yeah, it's like 7,500. Yeah.
I think where I was staying, it was like pushing 9,000 feet or something. It was so high.
All
But
right,
yeah, people would complain about that and be like, the course, the air.
The top men's time in Mexico City was 67 minutes.
Yeah.
That's what I need. High altitude Hyrox.
So 10 minutes faster than Hyrox Airport.
Slower.
That's what I said. Slower. Okay. Anything else on Hyrox, Anthony, before we move on to the CrossFit quarterfinals?
No, I don't have anything else on Hyrox. Mexico City happened. Shout out to Heidi, who went and ran it after her recent surgery. She went out and won her age group there. That's a tough course to run. I don't want to run at 7,000 feet.
Well, I actually want to start. I'm gonna bring this up before I forget. That's what we're gonna do this one called Matt brings this one up before he forgets. Hang on, I lost it. Give me 1 second. Hang on. This is fascinating to me. So our friend Miriam, winner of the CrossFit Open, fantastic Hyroxer, posted and currently just was the second workout for the quarterfinals.
Yes, she won workout number 2 of the 2024 quarterfinals. So she won the Open overall, and then she went like 14:26 on the 3 rounds for time of 50 wall balls and 50 burpee box jump overs. So fast. And I'm going to check it right now. I wonder if she's the only one to average under 5 minutes per round.
All right.
On
before we get there, what I want to talk about with Miriam is this thing she's doing as a way to get support, which I think is fascinating. So she doesn't have a Patreon and probably doesn't have a lot of company sponsors. So she created this thing called the 100 Club. The 100 Club consists of people who give me an amount of CHF 100 annually. Somebody can Google that, which supports her travel, entry, and accommodations, which gives you a newsletter twice a year, one workout with her a year, and your name on her website. And then she talks about her goals and, hey, you can join me and be a supporter. So it's like an unofficial Patreon, but it's just like, hey, I'm putting this out to the universe give me $100 and be a part of my thing.
I know you sent this, and I had a question. Like, to me, this seems like it might have been just local people at her gym, her family and friends want to find a way to support her. And this is a way they can do that to support her. And I mean, opening it for anyone, that's, good for her. She's a young kid out there trying to make a living as an athlete. Like, and if her friends and family want to support her in a way and not just like hand her the money, this is a way that they can do that. And I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, I thought it was super cool. Cause again, it's like, we know there's money out there for CrossFit. We know there's starting to get some money out there, but yeah, it's just like, hey, it's $100. I do a couple nice things for you without going through the whole trouble of like the Patreon and like saving the fees probably for that too. So I just thought it was pretty cool.
I think it's a great way for her to get the local people involved. And I mean, now it's open to the world, and hopefully she gets a few people. I know, like, I like to support the local anything in hybrid, so I usually try to secretly donate to them, and that's awesome that she has a platform that she can do that on.
Over at the Barbell Spin, they call her Mirham. That is not her name. It is Miriam, not Mirjam and not Miriam. So tell us more about that workout. What were you saying about her workout?
Just for reference, Miriam, she did over a minute faster than second place in the world. So you want to talk about percent of winner? Miriam,
Cheryl,
1 minute. She was 1 minute and 7 seconds faster than second place in the world. So Miriam absolutely crushed it. First place in the world, 14:26. The only person to average under 5 minutes per round, the only woman. There were some men that were close to her. Actually, I think the top men might have beat her, but 14:26. That's like 4:15 450-ish, 451 or something, or 449 per round. Like, I don't think I could do one round as fast as she did all 3 of her rounds on average. And I know because I did it. And it hurt. And I did not do it that fast. So Miriam, yeah, if you want to talk about quarterfinals, Miriam crushed it. She's put herself in a really good position. And I think on workout 3 and 4, she's probably going to be a pretty big threat for workout 4 in terms of her barbell cycling. I know she's pretty strong. She has a 245 pound clean and jerk. And workout 4, depending on how barbell cycling is, she might win another one. So she's just out there.
Money. I know there's money for the workouts in the open. There's no money?
No money in the quarterfinals.
Why would you not give money in the harder one?
The open's like the thing for everybody. They like to announce it and show it. So, the top men's score was adjusted. Sorry, I just saw the comment.
The one that's less scrutinized and has way more people, that just seems silly. I get it, but do some or both, right? No.
Well, the quarterfinals is more like, okay, now who's gonna move on, and so is the semi. Like, you win money at the semifinals, the in-person competitions. The quarterfinals is like, all right, everybody had their fun. Now let's see who gets to move on to semis. So I guess I just checked the men's score. The top men's time was adjusted, so Miriam won over the men, and only one guy went under 15. So she's flying. And I know how quick like she is, because I mean, I watched Lauren do this, and Lauren did really well on this workout too. And
I was going to ask how you and Lauren did, as Spin says she will definitely not win workout 4 because he's a hater. Well, how did you and Lauren do?
So right now, before today's final submission, Lauren is sitting in 9th place in America West. And the top 40 make the semifinals. So the first 2 workouts were pretty good for her. She finished workout 2 in our garage. She did it 16:24. So she was flying on that one. I don't know where she finished. I think she was she was 32nd place in the world on workout 2. So out of everybody that made quarterfinals, she did really well. She did 202 reps in workout number 1. And if you don't know what workout number 1 is, workout number 1 was 1 minute of snatches, 1 minute of rowing calories, and 1 minute of dumbbell box step-ups, and then 1 minute of rest. And you did that 4 times. And your goal was just to get as many reps as you possibly could. And that's the workout Lauren did the night before the DEKA FIT when we were in Anaheim. And she had decided that like she was just gonna go ham on the snatches. So she's not, Lauren's not big, so she was gonna row as hard as she could, but she thought she'd make up her time or get her reps in the snatches, and she did. She got like 18 reps the first minute of snatches, and then did like 16 in the rest of the rounds. So she was cranking there. So the last 2 workouts are going to be tough workouts. They're big separators. So one of them is what's called a GGG. So it's all gymnastics. It's 3 rounds of 10 handstand push-ups, 20 toes to bar, 2 rounds of 10 strict handstand push-ups, 5 rope climbs, and then 1 round of wall-facing handstand push-ups and 20 muscle-ups. And that's workout number 3, which that workout as well is going to be very, I don't know how Miriam is at rope climbs, but I know she's pretty good at muscle-ups, and she's going to be phenomenal at handstand push-ups. So really, if she's good at rope climbs, she's got the engine to excel in that workout as well.
Cheryl, can you do a handstand push-up?
This level of fitness, I cannot fathom. I don't even know how you get to that point in your life. It's just aspirational, right?
Do you do any kind of CrossFit gymnastics type thing? Have you ever done any of that stuff in your life, Cheryl?
No.
Even in like the 1920s, like in the black and white days, right? When we were growing up.
Back when I was 16?
Yes.
No, this is all just foreign to me, and I just watch these people and cannot believe what they can accomplish. It's absolutely incredible.
So
Anthony, how's your gymnastics work?
I'm better at high skill movements. So I was fine. I did workout number 3. If my abs hadn't cramped on the toes to bar, because I don't do ab workouts enough, I probably would have finished the workout itself. Ended up getting 18 muscle ups on it. And it really, like, just if you don't, we haven't done muscle ups in like a year. Lauren hasn't done ring muscle ups since before she was pregnant. So this was like, okay, well, we're going to try these workouts. So we went out and did them, and they were good. And just the high skill gymnastics, if you don't consistently do it, you're not going to do super well in it, but it's definitely a skill that has to be constantly refined.
Do you think it's worth working toward?
Depends on your goals. If you're only looking to do a Hyrox, no. If you're looking to do a DEKA FIT, no. It's not necessary, because there is a high level of risk with it. I wouldn't suggest doing it unless like that was your goal, is I want to get a muscle up. If that's your goal. Now, if you were doing obstacle course racing, I would probably encourage you to do bar muscle ups, because the more bar muscle ups you can do, the faster you'll get over any wall in front of you.
Yeah.
So there's good translation in that sense between the movement and your final goal. Hyrox and DEKA and anything so far in hybrid, no.
It'd be cool to do a muscle up for my grandson. I may work on it.
Learn it strict. If you want to do a muscle up, number one thing you should do first, very basis. If you can finish this workout, you'll be well on your way. There's 2 workouts. Okay. The very first one is a 10-minute EMOM of strict pull-ups and dips. If you can do both those things, you'll have the requisite strength. The second one is a double Tabata. So 16 rounds of 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off. At the first, and you alternate between them. 20 seconds of ring support. All you got to do is hold yourself at the top of the rings for 20 seconds. Rest 10 seconds, and then go to the bottom as deep as you can possibly get and hold yourself in support at the bottom of the rings for 20 seconds. Do that. Do it back and forth, 8 rounds of each, and until you can finish that workout. If you can do both of those, all you got to do is get somebody to quickly work with you, and you might have a strict muscle up. You'll get it real fast.
Are you paying attention, VJ? Are you listening to this, VJ?
Matt, let's go. Our hormones are waiting. Let's get this done.
You don't even have to learn how to kip. Like, all you got to do is you can do a strict one.
Well, listen, I was going to see if I could do any of these workouts right in my new home gym, but I don't have anything. Like I still I only have those basic things. I don't have enough things.
Do you have a pull-up bar?
No.
Okay. Yeah. Do you have 2 benches or 2 chairs? You can do dips off of chairs.
I could get my sons to sit in the chairs so the chairs don't flip over. But no, I used to have a wall, right? And the wall had a pull-up bar on it. But all right. So listen, the last topic that I had that you brought up, unless something else occurs to us, is your question about Elite 15 qualifiers. You remember what that question was, Anthony, that I'm looking down the notes?
So I had a question because I was listening to a podcast with Adrian Bosman, who's the head judge, and he does some of the workouts with Dave Castro for the CrossFit Games, and Pat Sherwood. They were interviewing Christy Aramo O'Connell. And she said in that podcast that she was considering going to Anaheim at the last chance qualifier and seeing if she could qualify for the Elite 15, but she didn't think she would go to Nice even if she did qualify. What happens? Does that spot roll down at Anaheim? Does it roll down somewhere else? Does somebody who is in a major gets it? If she wins or qualifies and declines her spot, what happens to that spot? I'm assuming because it was gotten at a last chance qualifier, it's just going to roll down there. But that brought to question, like, what happens if Rylan, who got his spot at Chicago, decides not to go, or like is unable to race in Worlds in Nice, right? Like, I'm sure everybody has their opinion, but how do you determine, oh, this major was more important, so that's where the roll down happens? It shouldn't be like that. Like, honestly, in my head, I think you have these last chance qualifiers. You know, right now they're unbalanced. It was 1 and 2 on the men's side and 3 and 4 on the women's. So if there is a roll down spot, it should go to the unbalanced last chance qualifier. So that means the people that took second in Cologne on the men's side or fourth in Cologne on the women's side, that's where the spot should roll down to.
I disagree. I think it should, whatever race you qualified from, you basically pretend that person wasn't there. So say Ryland doesn't show up and he was qualified in Chicago, it should roll down at that qualifier.
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah, but they didn't roll down past fifth at any of the majors. And Paleo and Rich, who took fourth and fifth in that race, already qualified.
That's a good point.
Yeah, but you can't. I don't think you like fixing the balance like makes sense. But yeah, it messes with this whole concept of the.
But that tells you that like, okay, so they missed a spot there. Was that major more important than any of the other majors? Even if Rich and Paleo hadn't qualified, like, are you saying that taking sixth place there because that major deserved one more? Like, what about sixth place at the other majors or the other roll down spots? I just think it should be.
All right, if you're watching this,
I heard, I think somebody said they're going to go to time. So
get out of here.
The fastest time would be the person that backfills in, and I don't like that.
From what? The fastest time from what?
The fastest time not already qualified.
Airport.
That would be the guy. That would be the guy from the airport. Wouldn't that be hilarious?
Full circle, right back to the airport.
Well, listen, if you're watching this now, we're about to end shortly. So if you're watching this in the replay, welcome. And if you made it this far, drop a comment. So let us know what you think, how that should work. Now, I reached out to, see, brain's starting to go. 6:51 Eastern. My energy drink's worn out. Who were we just talking about? Christy. I reached out to Christy, much like I did before her race, and I usually have a pretty good read on these folks. I honestly can't tell if she's bullshitting me and being incredibly coy or she really doesn't know. But I asked her as soon as that question came up, Anthony. I was like, "Oh, is she even going to go to Anaheim?" And I was like, "Hey, you even go to Anaheim?" And it was like, "Maybe." So again, I don't know if she really hasn't made up her mind because, like, before she did Texas, she basically was like, I've never even seen the sleds before, right? And then she showed up and won. So it was like, I don't know if she's being coy or not.
I was interested in that because I followed their YouTube videos and they put out like, we're going to go do Hyrox Houston. Here's our training plan for it and stuff like 2 months before Houston.
Right. And then I asked her and she's like, I don't even know what these think. Maybe, I don't know. So like I said, maybe she's being coy. Maybe she really doesn't know, but we'll see. But I kind of think that would be kind of fascinating to see what Hyrox would do. It's funny you asked VJ what he thinks, and what I constantly say is like, God, since OCR is so wacky, the bar is so low that even with the mistakes, quote unquote, that Hyrox make, it's like I'm fine with almost all of it, right? So it's like, oh, we're used to nonsense. We're used to made up rules and penalties and arbitrary penalties. So, you know what I mean?
Because Hyrox makes mistakes, they don't spit in your face.
Spartan just hawks a loogie right at you.
And then is like, what? What? Oh, yeah?
Yeah. If you don't like it, don't watch it. Peace. Anybody know what that's from? You can drop that in the comments. All right, I'm going to give Rob Ryan the last word here because we're glad you joined us. And he said, I did my first hybrid race on Saturday in Anaheim in the age group section. I finished second in my age group. Of course, that's a little tarnished by the fact that there were two on my age group. Hey, man.
You don't have to say that last part.
No, and Rob.
You do. You definitely do.
Rob beat everybody who didn't show up.
Right.
Hey,
right.
You don't have to say you were 2 of 2. You were just second place. That's all you got to say.
No, listen,
you
that's
control who you're racing against. All you can do is race, baby.
Exactly.
Our friend Bracken always says you can't control who shows up or doesn't, but you do have to acknowledge 2 of 2. You can't just say glad to be back on the podium and second with a second place emoji.
Whoa.
Just acknowledge it.
Who is this Jabari House that already knows
Jabari
is going to be the U.S.
Jabari, are you dropping bombs?
What is
Jabari?
this?
First of all, that's not even a real name. Jabari House. What is that? That's like the that's like
there's a DJ. Leave him alone.
He's got to be trolling. He's got to be trolling here because have they released that Atlanta's going to be the U.S. championships? That's a major race.
I'd like to protest.
Jabari House, Duke University.
I want to.
I had to do that. Sorry. Fake name, right?
I want to protest that there's only one West Coast race here.
There's no West Coast, is there?
LA. All they posted.
Oh,
was
LA. He's got LA. Okay.
Dude,
I don't
so
like
glad-
that. We need more out here.
So
Yeah.
first of all, if this is real, this would be amazing. So we don't know. He might be trolling us, but listen, I made VJ laugh hard, and that's all I care about, guys. It's like I made VJ
Really
laugh hard. How dope would this be? So Chicago, Dallas, LA, we know that's going to happen, right?
But Toronto's not in the U.S., so why would they call it the U.S. schedule? Silly.
Okay, no. Toronto's not going to. They're getting their first race like this week, or they already have a fall race, right?
Yeah. I don't know. Where's our Canadian
Where's Bethany McChesney?
or Dave?
I'm trying to get Bethany on, by the way, as a guest. This time frame does not work out for her, unfortunately, but we will have Dave back on. We will have one Jack Bauer back on. So listen, I'm really glad we got to do this. Cheryl, thanks for joining us. Thanks for again inspiring me, because I always want to complain and say I'm old, and then I see you out there and you're like, Matt, F you. We're not old. Get out there.
We got to set some CrossFit goals. It sounds like we got to come up with something.
I just barely can do the fucking Deca Anaheim burpees. Jesus Christ.
All right. I'll back up, but one of these days.
All right, VJ.
On an ending note,
yes.
Name your dream city for the Hyrox in the U.S., the continental U.S. What city do you want to see as a new location this year?
Well, isn't everybody just going to name where they live?
Mm-hmm. I mean, Vegas is perfect anyway.
I don't
Vegas,
really want a Colorado Springs.
I would like to see it in Las Vegas again, just because I think it's great there.
And it's so easy to get here.
Yeah, like cities that are easy to get to, like that would be the best.
Okay, so let me just say something here, ladies and gentlemen, okay, about Las Vegas, which I've been to multiple times for World's Toughest, once for Hyrox. Yes, airport, Southwest flights every 8 minutes. However, you want to get an Uber or a cab out of there, you might be waiting a long time. You want to get the bus over to the rental-car place, you might be waiting a long time. So I will say no to Las Vegas.
I'm an athlete. I'm going to run.
Yeah,
Uber.
they're building a new airport. Where are you going? Why don't you just go over to Terminal 3 also?
Yeah,
Terminal 3 is way easy. You can get there from the D gates. Doesn't matter what gates you land in. Go to D gates, go to Terminal 3. You get out way faster than Terminal 1.
I'll pick you up, Matt. It's going to be fine.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Because last couple of times I've gotten in, I've waited forever. Forever.
Yeah.
You get in a, first of all, you walk out and your brain and body fucking melt. Okay, that's the first thing, no matter what time of year. Then you get on the stupid bus and you drive by like there's like dead bodies and like we're building the new airport over here. I feel like McCarran Airport has been under construction for 12 years. True or false?
Well, now it's at
Harry Reid.
It's at max capacity. Yeah. And the Southern Nevada Municipal Airport or Supplemental Airport is going to start going in. I think they're starting to build that in 2027 or something.
Well, I got info on that. Don't hold your breath.
Oh, well, I'm trying to sell them some aggregate, so I'm hoping that it does go through.
Yeah, but anyway, Vegas would be great.
It got approved last year.
Max capacity, Louisiana State University.
He changed his name.
We're gonna end that.